Hello, this is Greg Ayler with Texas Hills Realty, LLC, bringing you Realty Talk, where we discuss topics related to real estate in Fredericksburg, Gillespie County, and the central Texas Hill Country communities. We're located at 502 East Main in Fredericksburg at Main and Elk, right behind the old 1931 red and black Ford truck with the chickens on back. We have 4 amazing agents, including Phil Fry, Andrew Harvey, Joe Kostelski, and Malin Williams. And me, I'm Greg Ayler. We welcome your real estate questions. We do our best to answer them. You can call us at 830-997-6123 or email us at info@txhillsrealty.com. The spring season is still very strong, especially the residential sector in the city limits of Fredericksburg, where the number of available listings has grown slightly over the last month or so. Available inventory clicked up to 90 active listings when I ran this. We did have 85 about 3 weeks ago. However, on the closing side, I'm hearing reports of backlogs at the title company, where the sheer volume of closings seems to be clogging up the system a little bit. I'm sure those guys will catch up soon. The market numbers referred to here today are compiled from the Central Hill Country Board of Realtors, active residential listings in Fredericksburg as of May 2nd, 2017. Now, the average price of an active residential listing in Fredericksburg today is $602,500. The median price is $399,000. 47 of the 90 homes, or 52%, are priced below $400,000. Which means, of course, that about 48% are priced above $400,000. Through April 2017, we sold 69 homes at an average sale price of $364,500, or $198 a foot. The total volume of sales was about $25.1 million. Compared to the same period in 2016, the average sale price for 72 sales was $320,000, or about $170 per square foot. Volume was $23 million. The end result is the number of sales was about the same, as we said, 69 versus 72. But the average sale price increased from $320,000 up to $364,000, up about 13 to 14%. One of the obvious things that affect us, not only in the Central Texas Hill Country, but anywhere in Texas, is the tax rates. The largest component of that is generally the school tax. And we are very pleased today to have with us Dr. Eric Wright, Superintendent of the FISD, the Fredericksburg Independent School District, to fill us in on that. Dr. Wright, thank you for being here today. And would you take a moment to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Absolutely, and thank you for having me here today, Greg. Once again, my name is Eric Wright. I'm the superintendent of FISD. This is currently my 4th year to serve in this position. I have 29 years in education, and this is my 3rd district to be a superintendent in. I've previously served as superintendent in Woodville ISD and then Huntington ISD. And currently, we have 503 employees in FISD. We have approximately 3,200 students pre-K through 12. We are responsible for a $42 million budget, which includes our maintenance and operation budget, our debt service budget, and our school nutrition budget. We have probably the largest percentage of our budget is salary or personnel, which speaks to about 80 to 85% of our budget each and every year.
I see. Thank you. I understand, too, that we have a school board election coming up soon.
We do. We are currently in the midst of an election cycle. We have 3 seats available, and early voting actually ended this past Tuesday, but the general election is Saturday, May the 6th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Fredericksburg Middle School cafeteria, and we have Lance Foyge, who has chosen to withdraw from the race, but is going to be on the ballot because he didn't withdraw in time. And then we have our incumbent Corinne Herber. We have Brian Laney, Lance Love, Ronald Stotts, and then we have a write-in candidate that won't be on the ballot but will be in the polling booth, and his name is Sam Aldrich.
Well, good. I encourage everybody who is eligible to vote to get out there and vote. Regarding the budget and finances for the school district, I read that your fiscal year begins, and correct me if I'm wrong, July 1st and runs through June 30. you probably have to have a proposed budget in by June and get it adopted by, say, August or September for the new school year?
Yes, sir, that is correct. We are a July 1 start date, and we run through June the 30th of every year. And so we are currently in the budgeting process, and we utilize a process called zero-based budgeting, where all of the employees get to have input as to what is needed, and that way we don't just have a reoccurring budget and budget for items that are unnecessary. And so currently we are meeting with the directors and principals and trying to refine and then make sure that anything and everything that's in the budget is absolutely necessary to account for every single penny. And then in the month of June, we will have a series of budget workshops with our school board members. And then by the June 30th deadline, I have to recommend a budget to them along with a tax rate.
I see. Now, we hear that school finance is a huge issue in the state legislature again. To us, it sometimes seems like we're paying more and more locally and keeping less and less of our tax dollars in the local communities.
That is correct. Our school finance system is broken and has been broken for some time. We've had many lawsuits filed against the state of Texas over the course of the last 20 years, and there never seems to be a solution to the problem. And basically, we keep putting Band-Aids on a broken system, and the people that suffer the most are the taxpayers locally. And what has been happening since 2005 in the legislative session, where they decided to compress the tax rate, the state was going to make up money locally for school districts through a program called Additional State Aid for Tax Reduction. And for the first several years, they did that. And so they compressed the tax rate about 30 cents, and that helped out and gave some relief to the taxpayers. However, the ASSETAR, Additional State Aid for Tax Reduction, is now being taken away. So it's a broken promise from the state to the local taxpayers. And so districts all across the state are hurting and are probably going to have to work on trimming personnel from their budgets as a result of it. And let me tell you kind of a history. Back in 2008, when ASSETAR started to decline, the state and the local taxpayers had a equal 50-50 share, both contributing about $18 billion apiece to public education. And now local taxpayers pay $26 billion of the public ed budget, while the state only pays $19 billion. And so the local increments have increased from 2008 by from $18 billion to $26 billion, while the state's contribution has only increased by about $1 billion, and that includes 80,000 new students to Texas every year in public education.
Wow. Do you see a resolution during this legislative session, or are we going to kick the can down the road?
I really think we're going to kick the can down the road. There are a couple of bills that would offer some tax relief, as well as increase funding to local school districts, but the Senate is adamant that we reduce taxes while the House is trying to borrow from the rainy day fund, and I don't know that the two will compromise. And so, right now I am budgeting under the premise that nothing will be done.
That's all you can do is make some sort of projection and keep on going. Being in real estate, I can see a mutual problem that we have. We don't have enough residential inventory to keep up with general demand in the more affordable price ranges. And just for the sake of argument today, let's say under $400,000. On the active listing side, I only have 47 listings priced under $400,000. Only 2 are priced below $200,000. Every once in a while, I have nothing under $200,000. As I mentioned earlier, that amounts to only about 52% of our total inventory in Fredericksburg. However, on the selling side, I've got 77% of the market looking for a home through 52% of the available product. So I have 77% of our buyers out there looking for only 52% of what's available in their range. I have more buyers than inventory. And as you may guess, that puts an upward pressure on price. That may make it difficult for some of the teachers or the personnel that you guys need to hire. We currently have less than 3 months of inventory in the homes priced below $400,000. The mutual problem that I see is that our inventory supply could make it difficult for teachers, administrators, other people in the community there to find acceptable housing?
Yes, that is a huge problem for us right now, is just attracting and recruiting employees to come and work in this area, because affordable housing is, of course, relevant to the budget of that individual. And when I've been on affordable housing committees and labor task force committees, it's a vicious cycle, because we need more and more skilled help, but we don't have places for those individuals to live. And so more and more of our employees are having to commute from Comfort or Harper or Johnson City or Kerrville or just another surrounding area. So I don't know what the answer is, but I hope that we find a solution soon.
We all recognize the importance of giving our kids a good education. Is there any relief in sight? And if so, how can we as citizens be of assistance?
I think we just need to contact our elected officials and let them know that our system is broken, and we need to ask them to fix it.
Will the current proposed budget be based on the old school finance legislation, or could there be changes based on what the legislation comes up with, what's pending now?
Currently, because the legislative session will not be completed till the end of May, we are basing it on the old finance system. And if for some reason they should pass a bill, then we will tweak and amend our budget after that fact.
Looks like you may have to shift gears in a hurry then. It would appear that the current slate of school board candidates will need to be prepared to deal with some real budgetary challenges then, though.
Absolutely, they will. And fortunately, I think we have 4 budget workshops that we will educate them and help them make informed decisions.
School taxes, as well as any other property tax, is compiled with the tax rate and the assessed value. Those two things combined. With our increasing market values and therefore our assessed values increasing at such a significant rate, is there any possibility that there may be a rate reduction even though the effective rate is about the same? I'm not sure how that works.
No, we are kind of stuck in a vicious cycle because of the state finance formula. Although your property value increases about 4% every year, that money goes back to the state. And if we decrease our tax rate, then we get penalized commensurate from the state, and so we would actually lose more money than we are losing right now. We're paying about $7 million back to the state every year.
That's painful. That's $7 million. Dr. Wright, you may be aware of a state affordable housing corporation. We refer to it as TSAHC. It's a grant up to $5,000 for a state of Texas hero or first-time home buyers. And what that means is they cannot have owned a home in the past 3 years. Heroes are generally defined as teachers, law enforcement people, medical personnel, firefighters, and others who are first-time home buyers or who have not owned a home in the last 3 years. The money is used for a down payment and closing costs if the applicant qualifies. To find out if they qualify, what they'd have to do is go to tsahc.org and take an eligibility quiz. It's very brief, very simple. Recipients must take a homebuyer education course, which I think is maybe a half day on Saturday. Educated homebuyers are 33% less likely to fall behind on their loan payments. You can call that program direct at 877-508-4611. That's a toll-free number for more information. There's still some paperwork involved, but I personally know it's a real opportunity because one person in my own family qualified and purchased their very first home using that program.
Yeah, I'm definitely in favor of the Texas Hero Grant Program and interested in helping our teachers or other employees apply, and I would be more than happy to provide.
Our thanks to Dr. Eric Wright for taking time out of, I know, a busy schedule to be with us today. We appreciate your work and your consideration for being with us here.
Well, thanks again for having me. And in summary, I would just like to urge all of the taxpayers to contact their elected officials to ask them to fix a broken school finance system.
Hey, we recently added several new properties in Fredericksburg and Gillespie County. Some are residential, some have acreage, and some have commercial uses. So check out our website for more details. We also had one listing bounce back on the market, and Dr. Wright, I'd have to say that maybe a teacher would like a shot at this home on South Creek Street. At less than $240,000, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home ready to move into. Many new things in the home, a great teacher house. We do our best to let you know the property information and where to go in order to get more details from original sources. Thanks for listening today on Realty Talk. Texas Hills Realty folks have been performers in Fredericksburg for almost 23 years, so we know the ropes. We know the selling and buying process and what it takes to be successful, whether it's homes, ranches, commercial properties, and whether they're being sold or leased. Realty Talk is brought to you by Texas Hills Realty, LLC, on Saturday mornings between 9 and 10 and on Sundays on sister channels. I am Greg Ayler, along with Joe Kostelski, Phil Fry, and Andrew Harvey, and Malin Williams, and we appreciate your support. We're easy to find at 502 East Main, and if you have any questions, give us a call at 830-997-6123 or email us at info@txhillsrealty.com. To read more about the discussion topic today or to see our listings, go to txhillsrealty.com, where we like to say we help natives sell and others become natives.